is?
I'm not exactly sure what his plan is. It won't really matter that much because neither of them had an advantage when it comes to CS. Like, no one has a no talisman, so if they're both trying to CS under the tower, it's going to be the same thing.
Take tower. You do not want to get hit by that tower, so he quickly gets the phase shift up. So one thing you're already eaten by Ice. Already starting his trolling ways. You said you're looking forward to him. I'm like,
he has a surprise factor. I think that's why he won last year.
Yeah,
it's because he does weird stuff that you never see on a one-on-one.
I just can't believe they both got boots first. Like, it's almost like they conspired to do this. Ice doesn't creep block as well, so he just flat out loses. He will draw aggro off, and that means his range creep will die pretty fast. So it's not the end of the world for him.
Nah, he's recovered quite well from that actually. So 2 of his creeps are already dead, as opposed to only 1.
Alrighty, well he'll pull it back to his tower even, should be able to get this last hit under tower as well. And yeah, it's an interesting start, that's for sure. Very different from what we saw out of TZ and Dendi in our first quarterfinal. This is just game 1 of our second. Quap versus Quap going to be the game 2, and if needed, game 3, SF versus SF here at TI4.
I think Boots versus Boots is a lot more about finesse. You're trying to like edge in one right-click harass, but that's actually much more common in other matches because if you make slight mistakes in puck versus puck, like you trade one harass for nothing, you can just phase shift it and then you reset back to 0. So I feel like Boots versus Boots isn't actually that important in this. Maybe if you want to contest runes or something like that, it will be a lot more important.
Yeah, well, first rune going to be spawning in 40 seconds time. There's no 0-minute rune in the 1v1 format. And we'll see what they look to go. S4 so far leading the CS by a good margin, which means he probably should be getting his bottle out much quicker. 7 CS to the 3 of Ice. This is a big lead for the Alliance Swedish solo mid player.
S4 isn't very aggressive though. As you can see, he's almost always on his hill. So if Ice wants to attack him, he's going to have to attack through the phase shift and uphill, which is just a losing proposition.
He's going Null Talisman instead of the bottle. He's sitting on full HP and full mana. So I guess you look at that and say, well, what's he getting bottle for? Doesn't need the regen just yet. Maybe to bottle up a rune.
Yeah, if you store up a rune, you can almost guarantee yourself the next rune with it.
Okay. The Null Talisman arrive, and I imagine he goes back for a bottle at some point. He's going to orb down, and Ice manages to phase shift dodge. It gets a deny or 2, but it's 12 CS to 4 right now. This is a brutal start for Ice.
It is indeed. And this is... Oh, S4 trying to harass under tower, and neither player has checked the 2-minute rune. It is an illusion rune spawning on top lane, and Ice is actually going for a Sage's Mask, which, if you want regen, you generally go for a bottle. If you want to push a lane, you go for a Bassi, so I would assume he's going for a Bassi.
Yeah. Bassi ring kind of acts a similar way to Null Talisman, that gives you good damage. You don't get the other stats, the HP.
But Null Talisman is far better. It's less... It's less gold, and it actually gives you a lot
more damage. Yeah.
Well, it gives you a lot more HP too, so you don't get bursted down. Yeah,
the Bassi ring coming out now, so Ice recognizing he needs something to help him out. Just something to mix it up here in this 1v1 matchup. S4, similar on levels here, so even though he's dominating the CS, Ice can always go for kills is the other thing here.
Yeah, I think that the Bassi is far more useful like 8 minutes onwards when you're actually getting damage on a tower, and when the leveling damage from Illusory Orb and Waning Rift start to level out and you're relying a lot more on right clicks, because right now the armor is not terribly useful. Yeah. If you get hit by tower, you just phase shift it, and you're not actually going to be taking that much damage.
I guess it's more if you go for a kill and you're trading right clicks. Like we saw that a lot in the Dendi vs TZ, where they trade right clicks when the kills do happen. You stand your ground and fight, and that's where the +3 armor could make a difference, because his physical damage resistance 26%, S4 sitting on 17%.
But at the same time, S4 already has 1 armor from the stats that he's gotten, and he has a lot more HP to compensate for that, so I would say it's still a wash.
Okay. Well, for now, S4 still leading the CS. He's got 900 gold. Is this going to be like a phase boost, or what do you think he wants to buy with all this gold that he's stored up?
I'm not actually sure. I think a bottle is pretty standard. If you really want to play it safe, you can get a TV scroll too. He dream coils you, you just TP out, and you're almost assuredly going to live. But there's not really a good reason to save up gold. There's not like any game-changing items. Like Blink is actually pretty useless in a 1-on-1 because Dagon's pretty good. I've seen people get Orchid. Orchid's pretty good. There are a lot of options. You can get Treads early. You can get Phase early. You can get.
He's gone for the treads, it looks like.
I've seen Yules, I've seen Necros, I've seen HOD, I've seen a lot of different builds in puck on puck, but at least after your bottle, you can go with those items, but usually you just get bottle control runes and then go from there.
Yep. Ice on the meanwhile is going to be going for, looks to be some more now talismans, or his first now talisman as well as some extra regen, so brings out some tangos, wants the circlet as well. S4 treads up, and he can use this to tread swap a bit quite fairly efficiently. Neither player going for runes, neither player getting bottles just yet, so... you do miss out a little bit on like maybe some last hitting opportunities if that happens. He could go for a courier snipe here, not going to go in though. If you go for that, you probably pay for it with your life, so.
Yeah, especially since Ice has just hit level 6, but S4, a more conservative player, with strength shreds he has 815 HP, and he's also gone for the 3-1-1. Ice is going for the far more aggressive build with the 1-3-1, and his CS is going to suffer as a result. So the longer and longer the game drags on, the worse and worse it is for Ice. Yeah. I think he needs to get a kill, or at least put significant amounts of pressure on S4 in the next like couple of minutes, or else S4 is just going to run away with the amount of gold that he's accrued.
It feels like S4 realizes the only way he's winning the CS, the only way he loses is if Ice kills him. That's where he goes for the treads, because it gives him a lot of bonus HP. Even picks up a magic wand. Killing him right now with strength treads, magic wand, the upgraded to get +3.
He has to tank tower, or like tank Ice's DD or something very significant, or miss one of his spells in order for him to lose a man fight at this point.
It's where I'd like to see Ice get a bottle just so he could get runes. I feel like for Ice to win right now, he needs to almost get like a haste plus a DD rune at the same time and then go for a kill with like a double rune. I just don't see him. He's not going to win a war of attrition, and he's not going to be able to really get a kill without something unorthodox.
It just depends on how S4 wants to go for the win condition though. It's either kill Ice like under his tower once he's gotten a medium amount of farm, maybe once he's gotten a lot of farm, or just push down his tower with a Bassi of his own. I've seen players get mech and try and push down the towers. All these are valid options for him. He just has to decide which one is best for him in this situation and which one is going to work the best versus Ice.
As it stands, S4 now going to go high ground with an orb here. He's got a call. He's going to go for the kill here. Ice maybe needs to orb out. He's going to hold his ground now. Recoils backward. Waning Rift is there as well. Ice ults forward. He may get the kill. No, S4. Waning Rift, 1 HP. He dies in the end. GG is called.
That was a very valiant effort by Ice. It was a good place for him to stand. It was right under the guise of his tower. And again, he had to make a move in the next couple of minutes, or else he was just going to fall way too far behind.
Yeah, he really made it look like he was kind of trapped in the core, and then he turned it around, used everything, almost comes out on top.
That was really close. I think, did he have a magic stick on that? I don't think so. I think if he had a magic stick, he actually would have won that. But at the same time, he had a limited amount of gold. But still, very fantastic play from Ice. I think the level 3 silence actually caught S4 off guard significantly.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know. Was he on the strength threads as well there at the end? It didn't. Okay, so I think so. He did have the bonus HP. Even with that, even with the magic wand, he still almost goes down. So it was a good finish, and we'll get ourselves into game 2. Queen of Pain versus Queen of Pain. S4 versus Ice in the TI4 1v1 Championship.